we need to produce evidence to show that agroecology works.
We should tackle agriculture head on.
Imagine clearing all trees and planting, going into monosystem. Can you predict?
Most farmers would not know that the termites are the best friend of the farmer.
You will see farmers who will tell you that I have a plot that I'm applying compost. On that plot, that is what me and my family are going to consume. The one that I'm applying the fertilizer, that is what I'm taking to the market.
You cover your hole just because the chemical is no good, it's poisonous, but you are spraying it.
Many times we say that it is more expensive, but it is more expensive to go to the hospital.
Our forefathers didn't have hospitals as compared to now. But how many people lived about 100 and something plus?
Everywhere is weed. You see that there's no weed here. The guinea fowl had taken all of them.
The trees involved, the birds, the bats, they also contribute.
When you apply biochar to the soil, the following year, whether you get biochar to apply or you don't get biochar to apply, but your crops can do well.
As we all know, farmers are scientists. We work on the land.
If today, as we stand today, if government bans the importation of chemical fertilizers and then also insecticides and pesticides, there will be trouble.
There's increasing food insecurity across the world, and climate change is on the rise. And so we need to think about how we feed people in a sustainable way that enhances environmental resilience.
So we developed the idea of look at how community knowledge leads to regenerative agriculture.
Since 2011, CIKOD has been championing food sovereignty issues together with other partners in Ghana.
So we actually organized a program where we empowered farmers to be able to come together, to work together as a network. Instead of as individual farmers, they work as a network.
As a strategy, we have divided ourselves into zones, ecological zones. And so for each of all those zones, we have the MOFA directors being part of it.
And therefore, we think that for our people who are basically rural farmers, we should listen to them on what they think are their needs for farming to produce food.
Agroecology is a movement, it's a science, and it's a practice. And we've been able to produce over 7 research pieces that have proven the evidence that agroecology works, that proven that agroecology can deal with nutrition security, it can deal with environmental security, it can deal with the issues of hunger and malnutrition as well.
We think that we should develop materials or information that we can share, particularly with engage with government, like the Ministry of Agriculture.
So if you look at who is feeding this country, they are the smallholders and there are farmers who are into agriculture. And you will see farmers who will tell you that I have a plot that I'm applying compost. On that plot, that is what me and my family are going to consume. The one that I'm applying the fertilizer, that is what I'm taking to the market. Because farmers are rational.
But when it comes to agroecology, it's the most sustainable agricultural system that you don't need so much, but you can run it in a small piece of land. Family sizes are increasing, and that means land sizes are beginning to reduce. What would be the best model? It's agroecology that can be the best model because we are looking at a small piece of land, but maximum use of what? Any small distance with maximum returns. That's what agroecology is focusing on.
In agroecology, I have seen that there are plenty advantages. It will give plenty food, right, for export and for local consumption. Ghana should not be begging for external food. We are past that age. After 67 years, we should be able to produce enough food and export.
So we focus more on soil health because we believe that once the health of the soil is good, then the plant is healthy. And so if you want to have healthy, nutritious food, then the soil has to be nutrient dense.
We are so much concerned about the soil. It's not a conventional aspect where we are looking at agri-business. Usually it's about business, so you don't care. Once you can make money now, you don't care about what the future. But an agroecological farmer, you are looking at the long term of farming, how sustainable this can be. So working on the soil is something really very good. We do a lot of composting. We leave a lot of dead material because we have something like the termites that live on it. Most farmers would not know that the termites are the best friend of the farmer.
You know, agroecology is the best system because it is a diversified system. It is a system that doesn't fail as compared to conventional. And it also enriches the soil, changes the soil structure, stored the fertility, and also protect erosion. And by gathering the residues, which is left over, together with the waste product, that's the manure from the farmyard, I created a pit, then mixed everything there, and after it has decomposed in a form of compost, then it is then transferred to the field to fertilize the soil. Because people were thinking that these southern crops could not do very well here because the environment is very fragile. But I wasn't thinking like that. I said, no, I will try and see, because if you try, you will see. Practical, not theoretical.
So when you come to here, our center here, which is still Ghana, we have about 4 components all running on the same piece of land. This is our approach. When you take the guinea fowl is a delicacy. In fact, I can assure you that it's simple because locally we are not able to produce enough. That's why people rely so much on poultry. If we can step up our production in guinea fowl, ask me, anybody who goes to any restaurant here, the first thing he asks is, do you have guinea fowl? It's only when guinea fowl is not there that the person asks for poultry. And that means that potentially, even guinea fowl alone can be a business model that we can use to drive to create sustainable jobs for the youth. So, but once they are in the field, look, they take the pest, so you don't need to spend so much on pesticides. Everywhere is weed. You see that there's no weed here. The guinea fowl had taken all of them. They've taken all the weeds. So apart from pests, they are also heavy feeders on the weeds. So it means you can also use them as what? Weed control. That is the innovation, and all this feed into what? Cutting down costs.
Well, usually the guinea fowls are more interested in insects. So once they are there, they try to pick the insects that are on the farm. It's only the chicken. The chicken actually would destroy your vegetable, especially when they find any vegetable that looks more orange or maybe red. But the guinea fowl, no, it's always interested in insects. So that's a very serious practice that I also do within my area. And with the aspect of this armyworm infestations that came, there were a lot of problems. Farmers were, using a lot of chemicals, trying to get these things off their farms, the worms. I didn't have to do because they never attacked and they were worried. They said, but what is your secret? How come that you are not spraying? And they aren't attacking your maize. So I told them that I have given them variety. Usually as an agroecological farmer, one very good thing you should also take note, don't completely eliminate all grass and leave just one. Because it's very important that you also leave some of this as also a practice to be able to, with the pest control. That could also be it. But once the insects are on your farm, they find variety. They might go on your vegetable, then the next is, there's also something different they want. So they actually would not stay completely on your plant. And this is what I told them. You can look at the whole hypocrisy of it, where you are asked to spray, get your whole self protected from the chemical. You spray on the very crop that you would put it in. So what are you doing? You cover your whole just because the chemical is no good, it's poisonous, but you are spraying it to a crop that you would find it's just something we are really not, we can do it. Agroecology, it's possible that we can really run our country successfully.
For the weed control, we use human urine. Now, human urine contains phosphorus. Now, let me say NPK. 1, it serves as a weed killer, and then 2, it serves as repairing the soil. So we'll take 10 liters of human urine, we'll take 3 liters of vinegar, then we'll take 2.5 kg to 3 kg of salt, then we'll take 500 ml of liquid soap, organic liquid soap anyway. Then we'll take 3 balls of black soap, or you can also use potash from cocoa, and that we mix this in together. And then that same day, you can use that to spray on your weeds and to control the weeds for you.
As at now, you see plenty trees around my place. It improves the environment. In fact, by September, if you come here, there's no difference between this place and the south. When I'm about to harvest the fish, I feed the fish. The fish themselves also excrete. That forms liquid fertilizer. So when I'm harvesting the fish, I use a pumping machine to pump the liquid fertilizer back to the farm, right? Then the sheep and goats plus the pigs, their excreta, I use it for the farm. So all these things improve the nutrient content of the soil.
Guinea fowls are giving us enough residues or droppings for us to produce enough compost here, which is far better than the use of chemical fertilizer. Number 2, fish wastewater, apart from giving them direct, it also makes to produce compost. This time we collect human urine, which is full of nitrogen, and also add to the compost. So our compost is what we call supercharged compost. All the surroundings, you can't get earthworm because the weedicides, the chemical fertilizer has finished them. But here, for the past 2 years, look, earthworm is all over. And the reason is the avoidance of the weedicides and then the chemical fertilizers and the use of compost. That is what is bringing all those animals back.
And by going conventionally, you destroy so many living things because they use tractors, and the biodiversity also helps. The trees involved, the birds, the bats, they also contribute. They go far to bring seeds. You see, disperse them on the farm. Finally, they germinate. And the living things beneath also works well so that oxygen and everything can develop and make the farm very good for the farmer to achieve what he wants.
But if you look at the soil fertility management practices, we'll be doing things like compost production and supporting farmers to do compost production, use of leguminous crops to improve nitrogen, for example, in soils. We have also been adapting what we call biochar.
Biochar is a byproduct from our farms, from groundnut, from shea nut, from beans, from stalks, from grasses, that when you collect, then you process it to become the biochar. In processing of biochar, you need the carbonizer. That's the first set of tools that you need. You need shovels, you need watering cans, and then you need water as well. The processing is done by, first of all, you set fire on a round circle. There are 2 ways. You can either dig a hole with a dimension of your carbonizer that you have, by way you leave it for the carbonizer to heat before you then put your chaff, your granule shells, your shea shells around it. So you continue still monitoring it and covering those places that are opening up. Then from time to time, you turn it until the real huts that we are seeing become black like a charcoal. Then you scoop it out from the carbonizer and then you use water to quench it, and you have your biochar.
The feces from the pigs are incorporated in the soil, and they add all the grasses and leaves on top and plow over. So they get buried. Then the subsequent years, they show the results are well shown.
You can see that at least my costs, it's manageable. So I can also tell where my money has gone to. So I ask them, where is your money? I say, Savannah, it's in someone's pocket. Maybe if you are driving his air conditioned, he would not even give you, but mine has gone back to the families in which we live. So I was saying, look at this practice. We should also be very mindful about where our resources go. It's very important that we find ways to develop the country, and by creating an opportunity for people to work on your agroecological farm, at least you tend to help them to be able to live.
So the critical challenge is about getting the enabling policy, first of all, that will allow the state resources, the taxes that we pay, to be put back into technology development, extension services that can build the capacity of local farmers to produce under their own terms and conditions.
So one of the challenges is the marketing. People do not know the difference between organic and chemical. So when you harvest and you want to sell, it's a bit challenging. That's one of the problems. And another problem is the acceptance of agroecology. People are saying that, oh, so if I do agroecology, how can I farm to feed 100 people if I'm doing agroecology? And that idea is false.
If today, as we stand today, if government bans the importation of chemicals, chemical fertilizers, and then also insecticides and pesticides, there will be trouble. There will be trouble because the alternatives have not been developed. So for us, we believe that we need to demonstrate. It's not just about talking, but we need to demonstrate that it's possible. It's possible to feed the masses.
I have a mechanized borehole supported by other NGOs. Electricity. Imagine the little that you get, you just divide it by 3. Then you'll be serving it every month. That should have covered some area. So electricity is also another challenge.
Like I have a borehole, it has to be powered by electricity. The charges, when I take the charges per month and sell all the produce here, I cannot meet those charges. So sometimes it's just better to sit down. And that is one serious thing. If policymakers are to advance this country, they shouldn't overtax key things like electricity, which is used. If you say the private sector is the engine of growth, and some young people have started welding machines, agriculture, and you overtax these things, how can it become the engine of growth?
Agroecology provides the best way that food can be produced, but then there must be an extra cost. So consumers should have this at the back of their mind and begin to understand that when crops or food is produced using agroecology principles, they should be willing to pay something in extra that will allow us to continue producing.
Another challenge that we have is our road network. So we go to the different communities, we encourage the farmers to produce agroecology products. But how can they take this produce to the market when the roads are in, very bad shape? They don't have means of even taking this. And so when the market queens or market women comes in to buy the produce, it's not as if they don't know that it tastes better, the shelf life is better, but because there is no system in Ghana by the government to implement the differences, they cheat the farmers.
Now, if we also come to even the analysis that is done in the importation of fertilizer, there is this blanket assumption that all the soils in Ghana have the same deficiencies. And so when government is even importing fertilizer, it's the same type of NPK or whatever that is brought from the farmers in the south, farmers in the north, and farmers every part of in the country gets the same type of fertilizer. But the Upper West, for example, has a lot of phosphorus deficiency. So if you are going to look at any tailor-made soil fertility improvement base, you should be looking at how you can increase the phosphorus content in the soils here, not sometimes the nitrogen and all of the other things.
My demand or my request to the government and those in positions is that let us listen to the people, let us listen to the farmers on the ground, let them respect their ideas, that they have knowledge, and that we should use that knowledge in building the food system for Ghana.
My recommendation is that agriculture should be the bedrock of this country. It shouldn't be lip service. Oh, we want to move agriculture to this, and it shouldn't be, oh, we produce food over 200 metric tons. When they come to buy the 200 metric tons, it's not there. It should not just be mathematics and politics. We should tackle agriculture head on, right? When God made the first man, he put him in the Garden of Eden. He could have built the tallest skyscrapers and put man there. But he put the man in the Garden of Eden to eat fresh foods. That's why these days young people develop diabetes. Our forefathers didn't have hospitals as compared to now. But how many people lived about 100 and something plus? But here the maximum, the average is 45 or is it 70? Easy.
The chemicals are killing us. And so it's high time they support the alternatives and let people make a choice. If you want to eat the chemically produced scraps, go ahead. But for those who want to eat non-chemical, I think government should also give us the necessary, push to be able to do that.
The ultimate aim of every government is to make sure that the populations are fed, we get fed with healthy food. We must not look at it and say, no, it is slow in production, and therefore, and give it only little attention. So the advice to government is to give it maximum attention, put a bold policy on agroecology in place, work out all the necessary implementation plans and programs, and roll it out boldly with budgetary support enough, just as currently we are doing under conventional agriculture.
If the state doesn't extend its budgetary power to the consumption of local and agroecological produce by ensuring, for example, the school feeding program, all the food is sourced from agroecology. That the schools that we have in Ghana, their feed is sourced based on agroecology production. We can never give the right economic space for farmers under that condition to thrive.
They say the higher you go, the more complex the system is. And this is where agric has sent us. We have gone that high, and that situation now is now complex. And that is as a result of we now destroying our own soils, eating food that is bad. And we don't know where the turning point is. Agroecology is a new currency now.